Hearing none.
This meeting is being recorded.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. While we're waiting to see if a few more people join us, I really want to thank everybody for joining us. This is an incredibly exciting opportunity. And I want to thank Governor Terry. For those of you who have not met her, Governor Terry is currently driving home and will be joining us in our study soon, but she is, it was her vision that saw this program and decided to use some of her funds as governor to open it up and help more clubs get involved. So thank you, Governor Terry. And so I would like to just set the table and then turn it over to Jack Attridge, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the most exciting part about this program is it is perfectly suited for Interact clubs. You have kids in your club who join, you yourself probably joined because you wanted to make a difference. And this is a perfect way to make a very real difference to people who otherwise will not have any options. These aren't people who can go to the neighborhood bank to fund a program or a project to get them out of poverty. So your clubs will have the ability to connect with some really amazing projects. It also brings in the partnership between Rotary and Interact. It is something that we can help with in making connections, in terms of advising, but after all is said and done, those of you who are interactors, you are going to make the decisions. You're going to choose what projects your club will fund. The other neat part about this is it's not just a 1 year or one event. This program can go many years. The Marblehead Club and Jack and Alexander the Interact Club's been involved 7 years. Alexander's been involved, I believe, 13 years, Alexander, now?
No, since 2013, so 8 years.
Okay, 8 years, okay. As the loans are repaid, your club gets to choose to reinvest in new loans. And the neatest part of this, your future fundraisers can add money to your pool. Right now, you've all got $500. Your club next year can add a few hundred from a fundraiser or 1,000. And just as is neat, you can go to your Rotary Club. They can help add money into the account so you can touch even more lives. So I love the potential. It's visionary. It's got so much potential for strengthening your clubs. You will get more kids involved. And I know for some of you, and Claire is the president. Thank you for being here, Claire. She's the president of the Ipswich Interact Club. And she's got a lot of kids who want to do things, and it is a challenge to get everybody something to do. So this can even, for those of you who have that challenge, this can help with that as well. There's just so many upsides and there are no downsides. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to hear from Jack, who is the advisor for the Marblehead Interact Club. And he's going to kind of talk about the project because some of you have no idea what this microloan program is all about. You have no idea who Kiva is. Jack is going to talk about their club's program that has now gone 7 or 8 years. And then Maya, who is also here, she's an interactor from Marblehead. And I think, Maya, you're on my second screen. There you are. Yes, hi. Maya is a treasurer, and she has some firsthand experience. And Maya, I talked to Jack. You're going to then share for a little bit from your perspective. I'd love to hear from you. I think the other kids would, as everybody. As an interactor, how has this impacted you? What's your takeaway from it? And then I would like to open it up for some questions. You're going to have questions, but then there's also, we've got some people who've already started some things, some ideas for good practices. And then I want to end with some things we want to address to make sure we set this program up in every case for longevity so that it doesn't disappear if, for instance, Sue Gabriel has to move away. We don't want the program to dry up. We want there to be enough involvement club-wise, and we want the schools invested as well. We have some logistical things we'll end up with. All right, does that sound like a good plan? All right, if you have questions, write them down, please, so that you don't forget them, because this is the biggest goal of this is to help us all start off on the right foot. So this is where you want to ask any questions you have. If they don't get answered by the presentations we have from Jack or Maya, and then Joe will share something she's done, which I thought was rather creative later on. All right, Jack, take it away.
Great, thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. Cold winter's night, but spring will get here soon enough. I'm sure Alexander knows how many days before pitchers and catchers show up as an avid Red Sox fan. But first and foremost, if you haven't watched the video that Alexander put together on microloans for the district, it's something that is short enough that you could definitely share it with your clubs and maybe watch at a meeting, or you could send it out to your club so that everybody could watch it at their own time. And maybe if Alexander has the ability to do it, maybe we can drop a quick microloan before we finish tonight. It's something that is really the crux of what the Marblehead Interact Club has done. It's the reward of being able to help somebody out. I think our club, Keith, is close to about 15 years old. I've been involved for a little over 10, and it was 7 years ago that we went to the United Nations with our club, when it was a lot easier to get to the Rotary Day at the United Nations. And one of the speakers spoke about microloans, and it was really, when you go to something like that, sometimes it's just one small event, one small morsel of information that you latch onto, and it makes a difference. And man, I'll tell you, it really made a difference with our club, a lasting impact. I think we've donated a little over $4,000 over the years. We've lost a few dollars, but through the compassion of it all, there's some understanding along the way. And then, you know what, we work with our clubs and we work with our district. Governor Terry, how many clubs do you oversee?
46.
I'm sorry?
46.
46. So Governor Terry oversees 46 clubs, and this type of pyramid goes all the way up with Rotary International to a worldwide president for the interactors, so that you understand the scale of things. So this Rotary Day at the United Nations was very impactful. They're tough tickets to get. We took the bus down for the day and learned a lot. And we were able to bring that back to our club. And what the advisors' role, what I see the advisors' role during the year, or one of the bigger things that we do, is that we instill the concept of service. We have young adults that are there that are getting ready to launch their lives, and there's no better impact that you can make in your life's journey than to be of service and to give back. It's definitely Rotary's mission, and it's something that I've learned as a longtime Rotarian myself. Different ways that you can do it. We're able to do simple things like shovel driveways, and we get the instant gratification of a senior standing at their front door, or we're able to do programs like Kiva, so that we can do car washes, we can do bake sales, we can do different things around the community where we earn money over the course of the year. And sometimes we're able to give back a $1,000 shelter box that goes into operation, or we're able to do $10, $20, $50 donations through this platform of Kiva. I'll let Maya speak a little bit more to the details of who we loan to, but I'll give you one morsel. One thing that we like to do is we like to finalize people's loans, so that when we're sitting in a Rotary meeting or an Interact meeting on a Friday morning, we know that when somebody wakes up wherever they are around the world, that they're going to have the gratification of having their loan funded, and we're going to change somebody's life. We're going to be that one last push that makes that person's dream to help their community through helping fund their store or buy some produce or whatever it takes to help their community through our loan. So so I think I touched on all the bases. Keith, if I've missed something, let me know.
No, that's great. Thank you very much, Jack. I think I am hopeful that Maya, a little bit later, will be able to actually show your account. And are there two different accounts, one for Alexander and one for Interact, or is it one account?
Sorry, our Interact Club has our own account. We
Okay.
wish we had Alexander's account. But no, Alexander, if you watch his video, does amazing work in his lending. We're at a different scale, but still with the same idea and foundation of service.
Okay. And one quick question, when you say finalize a loan, you simply mean approve it and fund it, not pay it off. Is that correct?
Well, if somebody's looking for, say, $1,000 for their project, and we're able to give the last $50,
I see.
then their loan's been funded and they're able to acquire the funds and undertake their project.
Okay. All right. If we could switch over to Kaya, then Kaya, could you talk a little bit about, I'm sorry, Maya. I'm convincing Kiva and Maya, sorry about that. If you talk a little bit about your experience, and then would you be able to actually show us your account? And Alexander will be able to give you the screen sharing. He does the tech guru stuff, but I think it would be interesting for people to actually see what you do, and if you're comfortable with that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I have it on my phone too, but if you want me to pull it up on my laptop, we can screen share and do it that way.
Laptop would be easier, and I've
Yeah.
given you screen sharing ability.
Yeah, of course. 1 second.
Maya deserves a little extra thank you because she's on her last 2 days of COVID, of being home with
Yes.
COVID. So
it's been a time, but I'm all good. I made it, so.
Keith, you're muted, Keith.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Just an appreciation and empathy for what you guys have to deal with on top of school and everything else, and the reality of having to miss time or deal with people totally digitally. So thank you for the on top of everything else, sticking with Interact, and every one of you here who is in Interact is a leader. So it speaks volumes to your character. It really does.
Okay, so basically when you log in, you'll get the page. I'm not sure if it'll show you this is like the main page. And it'll show you kind of like what Kiva is about. So basically the idea of Kiva is you have a sum of money in your account and you can lend that out to different posts which people are fundraising for. There's lots of different varieties. We tend to focus on like more women run organizations in like third world countries, but there's definitely a variety of people looking for donations. Here's the portfolio. So right now we've lent $4,075 total over the past 7 or 8 years that we've been running the program. We've made 109 loans. We have donations and we've supported 32 countries. And basically these are all of the people that we've loaned to. And obviously the 0% loans are more recent, and you can see here how much of the loan has been repaid back. So basically that just shows a running total of where your money is and how much is going back to you. These people have 100% repaid our loans, so that's great. Here there's like updates from the people that we're funding, and they like write to us and give us updates on how their projects are going. And this is just like a little bit of a breakdown of who we donate to. You can look by location, gender, sector. So we mostly do agriculture. There's some food stuff in there. And then these are just some of the foundations that we would support.
Maya, could you click on one of the people that we just,
Yeah, sorry, my cat's in the background.
that's okay.
Yeah, sure, 1 second. So this woman is from Tajikistan, and she wanted some money to help buy a new modern sewing machine and some fabric for her store. So the loan length is 26 months, and she repays the loan monthly, and she has paid us back for all of the funds. And right here, there's just like a little bio about her and what she would like the money for, the goals of the loan. And then it gives like a breakdown of who also is helping her. So it gives you lots of, there's lots of information about the person. You're not just donating to like a random cause. There's lots of information to back it up. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Maya, I think the one thing that I would add is that generally our giving is not just giving to one person. It's giving to a person who is integral in their communities to help support their communities. And if that individual is supported, then a community is supported. And it's the amazing impact of what this microloaning allows us to do.
And also I think it gives a lot of our Interact members a lot of like encouragement to participate. It's a great way to encourage people to participate in like fundraisers, like our car washes, and our bake sales, because a lot of that money goes back into our microloan project. So it's a really good way to get people involved in the club as well.
You have 2 hands up with questions. I think Nicole was first, and then Alan Michael.
Yeah, I can take Alan.
Okay. I'm wondering, did you set up any particular criteria, and did your team at Interact get involved in deciding kind of how you would decide on the loans that you wanted to
Yeah, so we
support?
usually do kind of like a vote, or we kind of we present like a bunch of different options, and usually we'll do like a variety of different people. And like Jack said, we usually tend to focus on people who only have maybe $50 or $25 left, so we can complete their loans. We do get kind of like a vote on what ones we should support, and if Jack wants to add a little bit upon that.
So the platform that we use is we meet in our auditorium, and you usually Maya and the officers will read somebody's story to the club, and then ask the club if they want to participate in this project. So it's an all hands on deck, and everybody's involved, and a lot of times when you open up the app, because we've been doing it for a while, it will say, so and so paid you back $10 today. So there's all sorts of, it's a fantastic app, and there's all sorts of little cues and rewards along the way for everybody.
I think Nicole was next with a question, and then Audrey.
Hi, yeah. So I was watching Alexander's video, and I saw that like some of them have like time limits, or like it's like it says like, oh, there's only like 23 hours remaining on someone's fundraiser. So what exactly happens like after those 23 hours are over?
I'm happy to answer that question. So if a loan is not fully funded on the Kiva platform, that means not enough lenders found it loan worthy, and then that person does not get the money. So the loan commitment made by individual people is simply returned to them. and that loan is just not funded. And it's an integral part of microloans, that there is a necessity to present the project in a way that is convincing and appealing to lenders. And some people make the cut and some people don't. That's just the way the system works.
Okay, thank you.
And I think Audrey was next.
Hi, thanks. So I just went onto the Kiva site, but I don't want to get distracted by this. How, I mean, there must be thousands of them. How have people, navigated through to choose the few that you present then to the club? And then my second question is, in terms of what we're doing here, Peabody has applied, and when are we notified if we are in, and how much money we have to work with?
So in Alexander's, there's two things. The app is very intuitive, where it will break down some categories for you when you open
Yes.
up the app. It will tell you which loans are close to being funded, which are single parent applicants. There's a lot of different categories that the app will automatically give you. But then if you watch Alexander's video, you'll see that you can go a little bit deeper and apply a lot of filters, and you can really pinpoint, where you want to give, who you want to give to, and which types of projects you want to fund.
Let me
Audrey,
answer the second part of the question, if I may. Peabody has been approved, and I sent an email to Laura McDonald with the information on the new Kiva account for the club, and with all the details, and it's $500 that you have available.
Okay, terrific.
I
Thanks.
think that's where we were confused. I already spoke with Keith. So Audrey, I'll forward that to you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so I think like our Peabody Rotary Club had started it, and then you include me, and I'm Interact, so we just hadn't bridged that gap yet.
Okay, sorry.
All
No
good.
problem. I think Sue Gabriel has a question.
Yeah, for Maya or Jack. So do you actually have like a committee that goes through and picks, one or two of the profiles to bring to the rest of the club? Or is it like your president, vice president, treasurer, kind of your E-committee? How do you get to the one or two that you present to the club?
So usually it's like our board of executives. So that would be like our president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. We'll apply those filters, of what we want to accomplish. If there's like a certain like profile that our club members are wanting to help, then we can also apply that to the filters in the app. And then us as like our members will find a couple of profiles and share their story with our group. And then, we kind of go from there of choosing who we want to fund and who the.
So each year you go through the criteria of giving? Or was that set like 7 years ago when you started and it's just been carried through?
So I'm pretty sure that's been carried through for the whole
Okay.
thing. Every meeting, there are different people usually that we fund.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's a vast variety of people that we do fund for the projects.
Right, but you must have criteria that's, you tend to support women who are single parents who are key in their community. Like you must have sort of a list of things that you look
kind
for.
of like not like a trends, but kind of a like filters that we usually look for.
Yeah, and that you're carrying those year to year to year.
Yeah, unless we have like a new criteria that people want to work on. We're always open to like helping different people. But as long as it's like agreed upon by the club, then we're open to it.
Okay, great, thank you.
We've tried to target greater needs, a lot of third world countries, and some people are saying they need a part for their car. That's typically not something that we try to cause the greatest impact that we can with what we do. And because we're usually about a 99% young women club, we tend to give to women who are looking through Kiva.
Can I ask a follow-up
Sure.
from either of you? What was one of the biggest successes that you feel you participated in? And what was one of the, maybe one of the most disappointing? Maybe flip them. Do disappointing first. Leave us on the high note.
I can mention maybe like a little setback or a little struggle that some groups may face, and then maybe Jack can speak about maybe one of the more historical loans. The repayment of the people that we fund, sometimes it's a bit slow to come back. So we have a like an outstanding balance right now in our app. Usually I have the portfolio on my phone, but usually it's like around like $5 to $10 a month that people will pay us back. So depending on how fast they pay back, they do have a time limit that they do have to pay us back by. But sometimes it is a little challenging, you know, to get that money back right away to donate to more people, because the turnaround time can be a bit slow at times.
I'll just add a little bit to that, is that we typically don't spend too much time on our failures, especially the last couple of years when with the pandemic and the fact that people's lives have been impacted. And I would say that you know, we probably could spend a little bit more time on following progress of people and following their updates. But at the same time, we go for the biggest bang for our buck and the biggest gratification, and we enjoy spending money on microloans as much as we can.
Not to monopolize here, but can I ask one more question? How much do you typically raise and put into it every year on top of what's coming back?
It all depends. You know, our club can raise anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 a year, and depending on how much we decide to allocate to microloans is up to the club.
If I can jump in here for a minute, Sue, great questions. Thank you very much. Part of the beauty of this, first of all, let me say in reply to Audrey, your question, if you were invited to this session, your club has been approved and funded with $500. So this is considered a pilot program, if you will, and we are tapping into Marblehead's success. With that said, the beauty of this is it's a program designed for Interact, so that as advisors, we can encourage them, but the beauty is they can choose what matters to them, and that may well change from year to year, or it may be consistent. But for those of you who are presidents, there are things that matter to you that may or may not matter to the next administration, if you will. You can make ones this year that will carry over, but next year they may choose it. Interact can take ownership of this process in a way that is sustainable for many years. You get to leave your mark now. Next year, your club may choose a different area of the world, or perhaps you decide there's a certain area that you really want to impact and start looking for loans instead of by gender, looking for loans in a certain area. Entirely up to the Interact Club to decide, and for us as advisors to support that process.
Keith, if I could just jump in,
Chuck?
You know, we're Marblehead Club is very fortunate that we've been at it for so long, and we happen to be the first or second most popular club at the school. You know, we do raise a lot of money because we get a lot of hands on deck for projects every year. You can give, you know, $5, $10 Kiva loans over the course of the year and have the exact same impact that we do. Don't let it scare you. Start the foundation of giving, start the foundation of you know, instilling service amongst our youth, and run with it.
Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, it's a great point. Don't be intimidated by those numbers. They've got 8 years of experience. The other piece of this is that the partnership down the road, you as interactors can go to your Rotary Club and say, would you consider supporting us, even a small amount? There's not a Rotary Club that's going to say no. And then they're going to want to know. You get to go back and take your experience and share it back with Rotarians, in essence, teaching them instead of the other way around. So it's just such a phenomenal potential here. And I can't imagine, like I said, a Rotary Club that would say no to something like this year after year, and your portfolio grows. So
sometimes you can get them to pass the hat, but you can always go after their happy dollars, guys.
Yeah.
On that happy note, Laura has her hand up.
There you go.
Yeah, just listening to the program for interested. I don't know who can chime in here, but do you also, as you're funding this loans, I know you said you get information on the app. Have any of your clubs been able to kind of, I guess, build a little bit relationship or kind of get updates on, how the program's been going since they've gotten the loan, or just building relationship with these people receiving the microloans?
The only vehicle that we're able to monitor is the updates that the people get, that the people give to the app. It's a great question, though. It would be great if we could draw closer connections.
Okay, but they do give updates on the app. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's kind of like a timeline update where they can update it, and it'll show kind of like their progress towards reaching their goal. So it's a nice way to figure out what they're doing and stuff.
I'm going to ask, Alexander, I had emailed you a form that Jill had put together. Jill is the advisor at the Newburyport High School. Welcome, Jill. And incredibly enthusiastic. Some of you have asked questions about how to make decisions. Jill, you haven't even stepped into this. Would you talk to us about your thinking and go through this form here?
Sure.
This is just one possibility.
So when I received the good news that we had the funds secured for our club, I decided to get a head start. It was during midterms last week and everyone was busy studying, but I thought, well, maybe I'll push this out just to get their interest. And so my idea was that they could go to the Kiva website and look at the different categories and maybe just familiarize themselves with the process, and then maybe start to brainstorm or select some people or groups that they would like to donate to with all the different categories that they provide on the Kiva website. So kind of distributing all the loans to the major categories, and then whatever is left over, then they could, pick someone of their choice. This was just trying to get the ball rolling with them so that they could see all the different reasons why people are requesting a loan in need, and to just get the process going. So I've only had a couple students actually do the form, but and I think they were slightly confused by it because I pushed it out through Google Classroom, but and now I have COVID, so I'm hoping I couldn't go in. I can't go until later this week, but I was hoping to go through it in person. So it was just a conversation starter.
This is great. Jill, can you share this form with us?
Sure. Do you have a Gmail account?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe if everyone, maybe we could Gmail. Yeah, I do. I can.
Okay. It works best with Gmail, Google Forms, and then
right.
I'm sure Keith could help
I
connect
am
up.
happy to email the PDF that you sent me, Jill,
Yep.
If you're comfortable with that, I'm happy to send that PDF to anybody who I can send it to all of you if
Sure, and I made a copy of the Google form, the one that I say, but you couldn't access, so I could resend that. as
Okay,
well.
that would be great. That'd be
Sure.
great. Okay. Also, I'll jump in here because Jill broke this into categories. The Rotary Foundation actually has 6 / soon to be 7 areas of focus that
Right.
could help you in terms of how to make a difference. Alexander, Governor Terry, it's been a little while since I've looked at them. I know there are things like pure water, maternal health, literacy, some of the categories you think of. But interestingly, one of the newest one is environmental sustainability. And so these are areas that the Rotary International feels are worth investing significant resources in. So any project that a Rotary Club applies for has to fall into one of these categories. So there's good reason for there. Alexander, any chance you could dig up and post a link to the Rotary Foundation's page? I'm putting you on the spot here, but you're the tech guy. The Rotary Foundation's page that would show those 7 areas of focus.
Yep, it's in the chat right now.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. See,
No problem.
success is having the right people on your team. Okay. Maya, I'm going to go back to you, if I could, because Sue asked you for one of your challenges, but also one of your highlights. And I heard the challenge. As an interactor, can you share with us something, a way in which this has really impacted you, your involvement in this, a great moment, something that made you feel proud or helped you understand the world a little differently?
Yeah, so I find it really valuable because even though we're in Marblehead, pretty small town, we're impacting so many people like all across the world that are involved in a very vast variety of different projects. And just knowing that you can like get that 25 or 50 bucks left on their loan and to help them maybe, help their clothing business or, some people want like materials for like fishing or just all those stuff. It's just really impactful to see that you're in fact making a difference and the whole club's making a difference by deciding to fund these projects. So it's a very collaborative effort, and it's a great way to kind of build bonds between people in your club because everyone has to agree on who we're funding and who we're donating to. So I think it's just all in all just a really great program to support and a great program to implicate into all your clubs.
Thank you.
If I may just jump in with a quick clarification. So the initial funding for these $500 that you are getting sort of as seed money comes from the Rotary District. And then the idea is that hopefully your associated Rotary Club in the future can also give you a donation with extra money to continue this into future years, in addition to your own fundraising efforts, obviously, as an Interact Club.
How about some of the interactors who are not involved yet? As you try and imagine stepping into this, does it feel like something your club could do? Are there questions that the answers to which would help you do it more effectively or bring it back to your club?
I just had a question involving kind of that and that network, because I know Isabella, who's a junior, who's our president, had to pop off to study for a midterm. But is there a way to kind of like connect with some of the other interactors or officers in terms of just this project and especially those who've done it before, as
so
just another resource?
kind of like as one of the first clubs that do it, I'm happy to take anyone's email or contact information and we can be in contact like with our board at Marblehead if you guys want to stay in contact, and if you have any like streamlining errors, like setting it up, I think we'd definitely be open to, further communication on it to help you guys out.
Should we,
Awesome.
sorry, should we just drop our emails like in the chat or something?
Yeah, I can write them in a Google Doc if you guys want.
Thanks very much, Maya.
I think
that was a great question.
Claire had her hand up too, briefly.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, looking at our club and like our challenges, I think we've had a tough time finding like an international project we want to sponsor. And right about now in the year, we just had a big event and we're looking for somewhere to put our money. So I feel like this would be really helpful for us, especially to like narrow down, like just seeing such a broad view of needs, like to narrow down like what we really want to focus on. So
Maya, I have a question. It looked like most of the projects you showed us were a combination of a number of clubs funding them.
Yeah.
Is it possible to find a loan for, say, $100 somewhere where your club can fund the entire thing? Is that a thing?
I'm sure if it's new enough, you can sort it by, when it was posted. So depending on, how much money they want and how much it's been, like in the stream of projects already, like the exposure, then I'm sure you could definitely find some. I bet we have too. We just have to look in our statistics, but there's probably definitely a chance that you can fund it completely by yourself, because there's some loans that are only looking for like $100, some like 75. So there's definitely like a variety of amounts that people are looking for. They're not all super expensive, which is great too.
Can a follow-up question? As the interactor, do you get a different sense of satisfaction if your club does the whole thing as opposed to being a piece of 10 or 15 clubs, or does it matter to you?
There's definitely maybe a little bit more satisfaction, but I think completing any project for anyone is very rewarding for our club. So I think we appreciate completing anyone's loan, but definitely like that satisfaction of being able to fund the whole thing definitely brings the more proudness, I'd say.
Thank you.
I guess we could team together and everybody that's been part of the grant, maybe we pick a project and all have a greater impact on one project, just playing off what you just suggested.
Great idea, Jack.
I will say the problem with that is that the loans are always a moving target. We started reading one at our last meeting that was close, that was almost funded, and by the time we got done, it was funded. So might not be that easy to do, but sort of, catching a fly with chopsticks.
You could also maybe look to one that has a lot of time left, because you can also look at them that way, and maybe we could, if there's one that has a lot of time left, then maybe there'll be more of an open window that we can communicate and donate to all together. It would be challenging probably, but I think that would probably give it a better chance.
There is, sorry to keep jumping in, but there is one thing that we can absolutely do, and that is report all of our account names to Keith so that he could send them all back out to us so that we can all join together on the same team.
Actually, I have the whole list of all the account names since I created them all. And they are all part of the lending team, Rotary International already.
Great. Are you on our team?
On the Rotary International team? Of course I am.
Oh, great. I'll tell you, Alexander's, I hope you all watch his video. Just to see his own account is inspiring. Alexander's always been a true leader in our community and a true leader out of our club. Rotary is lucky to have him coming up as our district governor. And the video that he put together for the microloan process is really a further inspiration for all of our clubs and worthy of playing during one of your meetings.
Well, I just want to thank this is really terrific. I think it's really great for the kids to get involved in. I just love the whole concept. So thank you for giving us this seed money to take on this initiative. It's very cool.
Thank
And
you,
I
Governor.
learned a totally new thing. This is just completely new to me, and I just think it's fantastic.
Audrey, you're a Rotarian? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I'm the president of the Peabody Club, and Laura is the president of the is the advisor for our Interact group.
So that's a great, another piece we haven't talked about yet. Another part of the beauty of this, Interact is a partnership. It's a Rotary program. However, it's in partnership with the schools. And all of our Interact clubs are considered school clubs. In many cases, they become the largest club or the most popular club in the school very quickly. Not in every, but they're always very popular and they attract these amazing young people. But there is that partnership. And so one of the things we want to make sure of is that we work with the schools on this. And the reason this is important is because I am still learning after 5 or 6 years how differently the school districts manage finances. And in some cases, and Ellen and I have had this conversation in Andover, the school district is absolutely 100% fine with the Rotary Club and Interact managing their finances. However, we do have school districts where only the school is allowed to manage money of clubs. In those situations, and that's why I want you to check with your school system. In those cases, we want their blessing, even though this is a different account. We just don't want to muddy the waters. We want this to last for a number of years. It's fair to assume that of the 10 clubs that we have approved now, by the way, one club is not working with an Interact club. They're working with the Boys and Girls Club in town. So that's a little different scenario. I've been talking to them about that. We want this to carry forward. The chances that all 10 Rotary advisors and all 10 faculty advisors 5 years from now are going to be the same people is very slim. And so as things turn over, we just want that communication with the school open so we don't get in a situation where all of a sudden the school, someone on the board of selectmen says, oh, no, you can't have your money. And all of a sudden, we just don't know. I think it's safe to do our due diligence since I know we have some clubs that this process would not be possible with certain clubs in our district. None of them applied for the grant. I want to make sure that all of you who have been approved have cleared that with your school system. Does that make sense? And if you have questions about that, please let me know. But you guys know better than I who to follow up with.
Keith?
Advisors, I'd set up a time to speak to your principal. We keep in close contact with our principal, and this isn't Joe's club that's going to go out and cut lawns. This club is connected through our local Rotary Club and through Rotary International. And there's a little bit of credibility that comes with that. And sometimes a little bit of an explanation goes a long way when we talk about, funds, things like funds.
Keith, this is why we purposely set these up under the club name, under the Rotary Club, because these are Rotary funds. And we're allowing the Interact students to make the decision to be part of that process. But if the Interact Club was to fold, it doesn't go to the school system. It stays with Rotary. It stays with that Rotary Club and they do it and follow through. So I think it's good to keep them informed, but remember that this is a function of Rotary. That's where the funds are coming out of, and that who is, the idea is, when I heard Alexander's presentation that Jack has talked about several times, a light bulb went off over my head and I said, this would be a great project for the kids. Kids, number one, don't know the value of money a lot. Number two, they don't have enough empathy, and this could teach them great things. And I think it would be a great project for the Interact students. And it would also be a way where clubs are not connected to their Interact clubs to
Right.
entice their Interact clubs to become involved. So I absolutely endorse telling the school what is going on, but these are not funds they have control over. These are funds that the Rotary Club has control over, and working with the representative of the Rotary Club and the Interact Club and the advisor, whatever combination. Those bigger clubs, I envisioned breaking up into groups of 3 or 4 or 5 and picking a project and coming back to the whole group, because with $500 in the average loan of 25, that gives you 20 loans. You only have 20 kids can each pick one. If you have 40 kids, get into groups of 2 or 3 and pick them together. You don't have to spend it all out in one fell swoop, but it gets it started and it gets thinking. And as the kids are talking at school, more kids may want to come and join your Interact Club when they hear what you're doing. That's the nexus behind this whole project. And hopefully Alexander will think about carving out a little space budget next year and bringing in some more Interact clubs, or, you know, however we work it, but that's the nexus behind it. And that's, you know, what I want to make sure that everybody understands.
I think there's a little bit of a administrative conversation here. Just to clarify one thing, Terry, is yes, the Kiva funds are one thing, but I know that there are also some newer clubs and newer advisors on the call. When you do the car wash, when you by the way, we do car wash by donation only, and we crush it.
Right.
Like those funds need to be accounted through the school, just so that those are the conversations that you need to have with your school, just to clarify the two things. But Terry,
Absolutely. Yeah,
but
I was
Terry,
only
thank you.
referring to Kiva. Yep.
Terry, you were the impetus behind this, and it's bringing all these people together to talk about service and giving, and it's fantastic. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Keith, you're muted.
Muted.
Thank you. Two questions here. Let's see, Maya, how does your club decide how much to leave in the tank? Or do you just, as soon as it comes in, you loan it all out? Or how do you decide that? And the other is, can you talk about the repayment loan versus losing money?
Yeah, so we like to keep a little bit of money, like a solid amount in our account. I think like probably like $75 to $100 we like to keep in our balance. The money that you get back from the loans goes back into your Kiva balance, I believe. So you can pretty much just cycle that money through like so many different people. So you don't have to deposit more money into your account like for every like fill up you might need. Our loans are paid back through the individual, and there's a log on the app showing how much they are giving back each month, and how much they have left, how much time they have left to pay that back as well. So it's a very solid breakdown of where your money is and who it's going through and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. Alexander, in your experience, you're the most experienced long-term wise. What percentage of these loans get paid back?
Well, I'd say the vast majority gets paid back. I can actually give you exact numbers if I can pull up the page here on the lending stats on what my delinquency rate has been over several years. I just have to find it. Okay, so over the course of, I started in 2013, so 9 years, over the course of 9 years, I've had a delinquency rate of 10.99%. And delinquency rate just means that they're late in repaying the loan. It doesn't mean that the money's not coming back. It just means they've hit a bump in the road, and maybe the cow that they bought is not producing enough milk as per their own forecast of what the revenues would have been, and so they are a little bit slow in repayment. In terms of actual loan defaults, my default rate over 9 years is 2.51%.
Wow.
So 2.51% of the loans defaulted and did not get paid back. So over my 9 years, that was default at about $1,392. But that is a relationship of the fact that I've loaned out about $70,000. So over those 9 years. Typically, you will probably see only a default of like $5 in a normal Kiva account. That's the average among most Kiva lenders.
You're doing, I'm flipping through my app, you're doing a little bit better than us, but I just came across a great statement on the app. Since 2005, almost 2 million lenders have crowd-funded $1.68 billion to 4.1 million borrowers with a 96.3% repayment rate. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're part of it.
Yeah.
Maya, we need to read that at the next meeting.
Yes, I agree. Totally.
And I've got to jump to a 7 o'clock, but thank you, everybody. This was a great call.
We have the Zoom room for a little bit longer. I want to make sure we answer any questions that are there. Courtney, were you raising your hand? No, okay. Sue? No, okay. Maya?
This is just adding on to the our stats I found. Our default rate is 1.22.
Wow.
So that's just to put it in perspective, the amount that we're investing for your reference.
I have another follow-up question for you, Maya. Sorry to keep putting you on the spot, but you are the one with the experience here. In the near future, you are going to go to a bank for a loan for something.
Very soon, my college loans.
Do you think your understanding of what happens is going to be a little different because of what you're doing?
Yeah, so before this, I had really no, before becoming treasurer really in Interact, I had no really prior, banking, doing all that stuff, knowledge. And Jack and Jim, who actually work for National Grand in town, really helped me kind of understand, the workings of how all this works. And through the Kiva, you kind of understand how your money, where your money's going, and the percents and all the statistics behind it, and how you're getting it back. And it's broken down very easily to understand. So even if you have no experience in banking, finance, stuff like that, it's very easy to understand and read. So it's not intimidating at all.
Thank you. I'm going to ask everybody, since there are names on here present that I haven't spoken to, and I'm not sure of everyone's club. I want to make sure that if there's a club of the 10 that did not show up in any capacity, that I can reach out to them. So would you just in the chat, just the name of the club you're with, so I can look for what clubs we may have missed on this. I do want to respect your time. We have the room for a little longer, but the questions seem to have slowed. This again is a kickoff. You're going to have lots of questions as you start, whether you're the advisor or whether you are the interactors who embark on this. But you now know that you're part of a community, and there are some answers out there, but there's a lot of creativity out there. We've got 10 grants. We're going to have 10 slightly different models. It's going to be exciting to see where you guys go with this. Remember that in exchange for this, Governor Terry has only asked for one thing, but she has asked for something. Terry, would you remind us what you've asked for and what you want to do with that?
Yep, let me unmute here. So just for housekeeping for you, the only club I believe that's not here is Chelsea. Unless somebody raises their hand and says they were Chelsea. The other 9 clubs are all here. What I've asked you to do is to record, have the Interact kids video themselves when they're picking out and when they're choosing their projects and tell us why. I want to inspire the district. I'd like to use 2 or 3 minutes of however many clubs can do this by next Thursday for the World Peace event. It's going to be online, and we have a world premiere from our DEI department. One of our Rotaractors did a documentary on the talks Black men have with their children, and it's very telling. And that's about 25 minutes, and we'll have a little Q&A after it. But after that, any videos that we get from any of the clubs showing us which projects they've picked or why they've picked them, I would love to get. I realize that it's quick turnaround and everybody may not get in, but even if you get in and pick 1 or 2 and tell us why, you know, maternal health means so much to you, or why you're picking or why you're picking an area in South America, or why you're picking a certain area that, as you've read what loans are necessary there, you just feel that, you know, your club wants to go to. I mean, some interactors in your club may have gone out on global exchange to Chile, and so now you want to see where you can give back to Chile. You know, there's all different reasons you can pick whatever projects you work on, but we'd like to know, and we'll get some of them into the World Peace Dinner, but later on at the district conference, I'd like to probably premiere them again. I'm working on that, and we may have a breakout session on youth and microfinance. So that's where I'm looking to use them.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, Courtney, is that a question this time?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. So if we were to record a video explaining which spot we chose to give our loan, who should we send that to? Do you have an email you could put in the chat?
Yep, that would be me.
The Falk.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Keith, but Alexander.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone who doesn't feel prepared to start the process now? I don't see any hands. Awesome. Would it be helpful to have another session like this, a Q&A, maybe 4 to 6 weeks down the road after you've had some experience, or do you think you won't need that? We don't know, right?
I think it would be good to put it on the books if possible.
Okay, Laura, good idea. That's what we'll do. So that would bring us to end of February, beginning of March. Okay. I would love any feedback or any questions or any great ideas that you have, like Jill's idea. Marblehead, we're going to lean on you heavily, but and thank you, Maya, for making yourself available and for sharing your experience with us, and Jack, of course, as well. Yeah. But with that said, I'm not sure we need to keep going just because we blocked a whole hour and a half. I think it feels like we're done here.
I'd say so.
Okay. All right. Have a good evening, all. Alexander, thank you for your help.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Alexander, stay with me for,
Thank you, guys.
please.
Of course.
Hey, Alan, nice to see you.
Keith, did you save up? He's gone. I'm going to save the chat and send it to him.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Take care, Alan.
Bye, Alan.
Well, that was a good session.